Has there been emphasis this week on special teams considering what happened in the game last year with Penn State?
I would assume so. That's probably not a fair question for me, being that I'm not on special teams. I know in field goal there's been a lot more preparation just because offensive line play. We are in the special teams, in a special field goal special unit itself. So yeah, I think that there's been a lot of more things, making sure we focus on the little things, making, whatever the technique is, to make sure we're sound in every gap and making sure something like last year didn't happen again.
Billy, I think we'd probably all agree that you guys didn't play your best against Clemson and didn't play your best against Oklahoma. Is that a fair statement? Why will that be different against a good opponent this time? Why will that be different this Saturday?
I think the biggest thing is right now the offense as a whole is clicking the best it's been in years. Or in however long we want to say. It's clicking at the right moment. We're hitting things, we're timing things up nicely, we're making sure we're isolating and making sure that, our players are on their players and making sure that, our guys are in an advantageous position. So putting J.K. Dobbins on one of their weak corners or on a wheel route, or, something like where you see Mike Weber went down the sideline against Maryland. Some of the things where defenses get lost in some of the motion, some of the adjustments that they have to make, and watching our guys get out in space. And that's probably the biggest thing for us. We got athletes, they have athletes, so it's going to be a war. Again, looking for a really, really good competition. I know, especially on the offensive line, tight end, running back, looking for a good competition. Our front seven versus their front seven.
When we know you guys are a good team, and we know they're a good team. How do you get a team to be at its best in a big game? You know what I mean? Because I feel, if Penn State plays its best and you play your best, it's going to be a great game. But if this happens that one team plays really well and one team doesn't play its best, then the team that plays well is going to win. What do you have to do in practice and mentally to be at your best Saturday?
I think the biggest thing is make sure one of the biggest things is for me is making sure your emotions are on track. Make sure you play the game Saturday. Don't play the game Friday. Don't play the game Thursday. Especially for us this week, we're on a +1 week and we practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Walk through Friday, get ready for the game on Saturday. So it's making sure that your emotions are in check, making sure that your mind is still fresh to what they could do, understanding the looks, understanding what the defense alignment, what their adjustment might be, and what potentially could happen. So as we did all last week, as we're doing this week, making sure you're picking up on cues, making sure you're picking up on little cues, whether it's an alignment, whether it's the linebacker might be out a little bit far, things that could indicate for us and put us in a really, really good position so that we're not surprised by anything. So, and we can, again, equate it, put a man on a man, push the ball vertically, and, good things happen.
Billy, Coach Meyer said the other day that one of the things that stands out about this defense y'all are going against in Penn State is they just want to get upfield. It's not read and react. How do you have to gear yourself up from an offensive line standpoint for a front like that?
Yeah, what I alluded to earlier, it's making sure that you don't get into the East and West kind of game. It's not meant to, we're not going to go and try to win a track meet getting out. Again, as an offensive line preparation is don't get – essentially, if you let a defensive lineman get up and down, up the field on you, you're getting bullied. So it's a physicality aspect. So making sure that you're prepared and to go play physical against these guys. So, preparing this week, making sure your body's fresh, take care of yourself, cold tub, hot tub, whatever the case may be. Any little injuries, make sure you're being attentive to that. Getting your sleep, eating, hydrating, normal stuff. So you just can't take things for granted, and you have to be a pro about it. So.
You mentioned that the offense was clicking as good as you've seen, and part of that obviously is JT. And you've heard for a couple of years now that he has to get back to this 2014 form that he started out on. Is he better than that now? Or is it clicking like it was then?
I don't know, because somebody somewhere out there has a statistical answer that could prove for either way. I think right now what's better right now is the chemistry between the offensive line, receivers, running backs, and JT and the tight ends. So I want to say that as a whole, there's not one or two units that are really performing well with JT. It's collectively as a whole. So there might be conversations on the sideline. We come off a series, off a drive. Things might not have gone our way. Let's make a quick adjustment. And it's not 2-3 conversations. It's one conversation. Here's the plan. Let's rock and roll. So we always in this world, you want solutions. You don't want conversations. You want solutions. So we figured that out. I think that's probably what's going on really, really well right now. I don't want to allude and say whether or not he's better than what he was in 14. I just know right now we're playing at a high level.
It's a long time ago, but when you guys lost in the Big Ten championship to Michigan State when you were redshirting, and you guys went in 14 and went up there, played really well and won. Why'd you guys play so well that night? I'm just trying to, draw a comparison of losing the year before. You guys went up and took care of business.
Right, and they always say, football's like a chess match, really. If you think about it, everything is about adjustments. So in making sure that, I know as an offensive staff, what plays can we run against this certain defense? What plays can we run against this certain defense? If they decide to play this on the outside, what can we do? And I think in the biggest games, in 2014, we had every answer possible. And to look back on that season, Virginia Tech went bare against us, and we had no idea what to do. We had no idea what to do. So then all of a sudden, next thing you know, every single week that we went into, we prepared for everything instead of just focusing in on one thing. So anytime you lose a big game or a game that's okay, how did they beat us, and how could we, next time we see something like this, we beat that? So I think the biggest thing, in Oklahoma, we weren't prepared offensively. We weren't ready for everything that was going to be thrown at us. Next thing you know, next week, we saw the same thing that Oklahoma did, that they wanted to do to us, and now we had a solution for it. We had an answer. So then you start to see us develop, continue next 5 weeks in a row. We saw the same stuff. So we had an answer for it. We had different variations that we wanted to do as offensively to kind of stretch the field east and west, and then be able to stretch and attack it north and south. So I think that was probably the biggest thing, especially when you look in big games. You have to be able to prepare, and you have to be able to be ready for everything, and not just say, hey, okay, they're going to play 4 down straight up against us, because no team across the country is going to do that.
Philly, go ahead.
As much as I know you enjoy headline questions, this one's fluff. James Franklin tells his players, take 30 seconds to appreciate the atmosphere, then shelve it, move on. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a really cool atmosphere Saturday with the new unis and the blackout. Is that similar to what you do? Can you look up at any point in the game and say, wow, this looks really neat? Or
yeah, I always, I was telling, I forget who I was telling, but anyway, the moment that I get to really appreciate these things is, we come out as a team, come back, and right as we go to enter the field right before a coin toss, we're sitting in there in our tunnel, and you get to look up at everything. And you take probably about 5 steps. Coach Myers says, all right, here we go, let's go. And we start running out. And you take about 5 steps, and you see fireworks, and you see the cheerleaders running by, and the band, and this, that, and the other. And then you see fireworks coming up, and you just get a chance to just kind of glance around and kind of enjoy and appreciate that atmosphere. Other times, the third downs, when the whole entire place is rocking. I was back home talking to my buddy about, when we played the team of North last year on that 4th down. The atmospheres and moments like that, you really do get to appreciate, because that's always something you might, that experience, that memory itself. But other than that, I have a job to do. I got to go to work. I got to make sure, again, I block my guy, go out there and get the victory for the team. And that's about, like Coach Franklin said, 30 seconds, shelve it, and let's go have some fun.
Last question.
Do you have to know where number 40 is at all times on their defense? Do you have to identify what he's up to? What's your approach with him, that Kabinda kid?
Yeah, first name's Jason, right?
Yeah.
Jason, he's a spectacular athlete. Again, watching him on film, very impressive. But as an offense, as you go to an attack, you can't be focused in on one player, because again, one player does not make a defense. Defenses run off of momentum. They run off of energy. So again, as he is their energy guy, him, Marcus Allen, some of their defensive linemen, it's to control and to begin. You got to put a man on a man, so it doesn't matter. Again, you can't design plays and try to make sure, okay, hey, let's run away from this gentleman. Let's just go out and execute the way that we know how to play ball. So, I know Jason's going to give us everything he's got. Same thing with Marcus, same thing with their front four, same thing with all their guys who they step on the field with. So,
hey, one last thing. You kind of touched on this a while ago, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you feel like y'all are a more complete offense than you were going into the Oklahoma game now? What have y'all found over the last 5 weeks that maybe
absolutely.
thinks,
And
why do you feel
back
that?
on Doug's question, I think it's chemistry. It's chemistry. It's being together as a whole offense, and not just saying, okay, 3 units are really good with JT. It's got to be complete 5 units that are going on right now. We've seen a lot of good things, making sure our offensive staff, Coach Wilson, Stud, Day, Alfred, and then even Coach Meyer and Coach Smith. Everybody's on the same page. We know what we want to do. We know what we want to accomplish, and those are the things. Again, you got to take a lot of pride in. Go out and execute on Saturdays, and go get paid.
All good.
Thanks, Billy.
Cool.